All right, so this is different. It's normally not me opening up these episodes, but we're doing something different today because today is a very different experience for us. I thought that because we are possibly at the precipice of a very big life transition for you, that we should bring some people in that have already had similar experiences. To be quite frank, you are facing some serious time. And we wanted to talk to people that have served time in prison, for similar crimes, some for not so similar, because we needed a diverse perspective on what prison is like. Because George, to keep it all the way real, that could be up the pipeline for you.
It's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. And not one I like talking about. And it puts me in a almost retrospective type of mindset. And it's like a movie, and you play it back over and over, like on replay, like a kid putting the cassette back in. It's done. Rewind it, put it back in. I used to do that as a kid. And it's not an easy conversation. I mean, I can't even tell you how difficult it is. And this is not going to be an easy episode. It's definitely going to be more on the somber reality punch.
It's a topic that I think we've kind of skirted over as we've been filming, but we're here now and we can't avoid it. And I even see your persona being different as we kind of approach the date. We approach D-Day. How was your head? For real, how's your head?
It's hard to explain. It really is. I think about variables all day long. What ifs, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and and you just kind of deal with it. And I'm dealing.
Is the key emotion overwhelming sadness?
Regret, mixed with sadness, mixed with this sense of letting my loved ones down. It's just not a place at 36 I ever thought I'd be in, ever. And eventually it creeps up. And I know the trolls have a great time. They like to do the TikTok, and it's coming. They April 25th couldn't come soon enough. These are real things people write to me. Like, you're going to, XYZ is going to happen to you. And you kind of try to be the bigger person and just brush it off. And I'm that guy. I'm like, I'm not going to pay mind to these people. Like, don't feed into your haters. But at the end of the day, you have to realize they might not be wrong.
You see the comments, you get the sentiments, and I always thought that you were so good about being unbothered and just rolled off like water off a duck's back.
I'm good at presenting that.
Yeah.
It's part of the grand musical called life for all of us, right? We present how we want, we perceive and allow people to perceive our emotions in the way we choose. And I have chosen to not let people see me bothered, much to my disadvantage even, where some would mistake that for arrogance, belligerence, lack of remorse. He doesn't atone. He has no remorseful bone in his body. He will do this again. And you just sit there and I just don't think people understand what do you expect me to do? To walk around crying? I just don't understand the societal expectation that one must present. So I just gave up trying to figure out, and I just roll with my life. And it's hurt me in some instances because some people in the legal community, I would say, might agree that, he is unremorseful,
that you don't look
unrepentant.
Sorry enough.
Yeah, he hasn't atoned.
When is the last time you cried about this?
I'm not shy of talking about emotion. I just don't feel the need to talk about it. I get sad. I get emotional quite regularly. I have so many things that rely on me from a family nucleus support system that the whole thing is like falling apart. So that's an onus that I did.
That's a heaviness.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to some of these individuals just to see what they did before, how they made it through their time, and then how they re-entered society. But I do think about that. What happens to your relationships, to your things, to your bank account?
Account.
It's like, what happens? Silly question, and I already know the answer to this, but you are married. You're a married person. And we all say till death do us part, through sickness and in health, but have you ever thought about what, my marriage, my relationship, is he going to...
Out of respect to my husband, I don't have these conversations, and I will maintain that because I don't want to hurt him or expose him. And I've done a really good job at that throughout this entire process of affording him as much privacy as possible. Okay. And I won't have those discussions, but I can say this. I have one hell of a partner, and, I couldn't have asked for someone better who has unbothered and has not wavered once in this entire process and stood by me like a rock. And that's really important. And some people say mean things, and it's okay, but I just pity folks that don't have that kind of partnership with a spouse. So, but it's a heavy toll. It's awful.
I just over the course of these months, watching how you've handled it, and I see the comments. I don't know if you see them. Obviously,
I see some of them.
I didn't think you saw them. I didn't think you looked at them, but
I don't see everything. I mean, every now and then you scroll. You go on your social media. I go on my Instagram. I go on my X.
And it's nothing new. It's
sometimes I can't miss it, but I don't go looking for it.
Yeah.
So,
any key advice you're looking for if you do have to go on the inside from any of these people we're going to talk to?
For me, it's always been very clear. If it comes down to that, I just want to be able to preserve as much as humanly possible of my self-bodily autonomy and dignity. That's very important to me. That's why I've even talked pretty openly. Like, I do not mind a solitary confinement situation if that means I go in and out the exact same with my body autonomy. That's what I'm mainly most concerned about. I'm a gay man. Let's just not bullshit and beat around the bush.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the scariest things, is not being able to just have control of yourself and your space, your safety. That's probably one of the things that will keep me up at night and make me pull all my hair out.
Doesn't keep me up at night because I have decent resolve, and I just take melatonin. Liar, pants on fire. Pants on fire. I do want to say thank you so much for you're definitely lightening the blow by showing up in a customary 1940s, 1950s striped prison jumpsuit.
I thought, hey, listen.
You make prison look fashionable.
And I don't think you are going to have to even deal with that. We're going to just say all the prayers. But if you do, I think you're going to do that too.
I mean, look, if it was stripes, I'd be more excited than orange.
This is old school.
Although I like orange, it's one of my favorite colors. It's just like it amplifies.
Probably let's stay away from the orange.
It's not cute.
We're going to stay away from the orange for a second. Okay.
Hopefully.
All right.
Well, I guess, look, I don't want to be so dumb and, glum and doom and just like, whoa.
This is not our normal, happy, jovial conversation.
It's not a conversation I like having, but I do appreciate you putting on the stripes.
Leave it to Miss Naja to make George smile about possibly going to the clink clink.
I don't know that that's what you're doing.
Oh, God, you're
But anyway, I think it's easier to say. I think let's just invite our first guest down.
Yeah.
And let's get to it. Hey, John. So thanks for being here with us. You're notorious for many reasons, but I wanted to first of all say thank you for coming on with us. I definitely need some wisdom and advice.
That's
As
a
you
fair
can
word.
see, Naja dressed for the occasion because she's being a bitch.
Yeah, Naja, it's a nice outfit.
Thank you.
So let me ask you a question. What got you in trouble? How'd you end up in prison? And we want to know about your experience because it says you went to multiple prisons, right?
Yeah.
And that's interesting. But I also need to understand what led to that, and if we can.
Well, I grew up as a young kid. I mean, very young, 3 years old, with Lucky Luciano's cousin, whose name was Charlie Luciano Blackie. His father was the boss of, at that time, the Gambino family in my area. Both guys were Gambino guys, high-ranking, very well-known. And my little girlfriend's father and uncle were also gangsters, Lucchese family. So unfortunately, I grew up in a zip code where everybody was gangsters, and that's what I learned as a kid. I learned a lot about sports, about boxing. I was in the gym all the time fighting. And I just, went the wrong way, unfortunately. 91, I believe, was the first time I actually went to prison for any kind of time.
Okay.
Interesting. And then I know you spent some time in Brazil. Can you kind of give us a little bit about that? Because você fala português, eu também.
Falo português e também.
And I think that that's very interesting. And I wanted to understand because prison in Brazil is no walk in the park.
I ended up in Campo Grande, was the nicest one. It cost me $40,000 to get there, but by the time I got there, the FBI got a private Gulfstream 5 and got me out of there in about a week to 10 days because I was planning on escaping from there. It was a little more easy to escape. Prior to that, I was in Bango 2 with Campo Grande. I mean, with Commander Vermelho after. And then before that, I was in Ari Franco. And those prisons are notorious for violence, murder, raping. Conditions are horrific.
100 in a cell.
Yeah. So I was in a cell. One of my cells were 58 guys. And actually, it was a 10-man cell. I say 12 is 10. At some points, we had 500 and 600 guys in probably a spot where it fits 100 guys. We're all naked. You have to go to the bathroom on the floor. So there's people would try to leave a little space where guys can go. And they would keep us there sometimes overnight from early in the morning during shakedowns, which are very violent. They come in, they beat guys, they tie us up. So the conditions of some of those atrocities are really crazy. And people have no idea.
So before we get into the advice, can we talk really quickly about the political career and what led you into doing that?
Because I understand the corruption that's going on in government.
Yeah.
And,
firsthand. You understand corruption 101. I mean, yeah.
And
both
so
sides.
Both sides. And they couldn't try, like other people, the general public don't understand what I do. Because of the life I came from, I see through all the maneuvering, all the deals that are being cut in the back room, the money that's being sent. And I'm a big advocate for the inner city. So, I know you hear a lot of times that people on the left, they care about the inner city, but I think that's just a selling point for their votes. I see the money that's going overseas. They didn't give it to our neighborhoods. They didn't give it to kids that are growing up like me in East New York, Brownsville, South side of Chicago.
Is there anything that I know it started kind of early for you, just going in and out of the system, but is there any advice that you have for George about first day intake, any of that stuff we see on Law and Order?
I could talk to George probably for a week. I could give him great advice, but I got to start from the beginning. So when he first goes in, people are all going to know him. And a lot of people are going to try to be his friend like they're in college. You're going to get all the con men. They're going to try to get friendly with him for a lot of reasons. They're going to try to see if he'll talk to him about things and crimes so they can get out of jail early. They're going to talk to him about money so they can see if they can extort him. They're going to talk to them about access to political people outside, where they could possibly try to invade those guys, whether it's through blackmail or rob them or send somebody on the street to rob them. So those things are going to happen if he goes to any serious prison, which he doesn't have a criminal background. He has a good background. And although they're accusing him of some crimes and he may, see some prison time, I don't think, George, that you'll go to any place that's dangerous. I think you'll go to more of a camp where there's no violence. Nobody in the camps have any violence, be any kind of background violence. One thing I tell people: if you do positive things, you won't get yourself in problems. That means go to church, go to school. If there's educational things you can do, go to work. If they offer you jobs in there, which you don't make any money, you don't do it for that reason. You stay in the music rooms. You stay with educated people in the library, and the more time you stay off these compounds and busy, you're not in front of people.
So here's a bigger question, because there's you had quite the beauty shot. I don't know if you could see this. So
I'm still good. Don't make me take my shirt off.
I'm not saying you're not, but what'd you do in prison to come out like this, asking for a friend?
Mm-hmm. What's up with that?
Because this is like Hollywood beauty shot.
And he's still extremely handsome.
No, you are, but holy shit, man.
When was that picture taken?
Well, we and you could go to lunch maybe after the show, so we got to see. I'm not talking to George now.
Of course you're not. But asking for a friend, I can't say who the friend is, but definitely we want to know how this happened. And was this before?
That was actually in Brazil. I was wearing, and that's not a prison shirt. That was actually my shirt when they arrested me. And so they had me, they kept, they wanted to parade me around for the media. Mm-hmm. So they had probably about 30 cameras in the room. And then they made me do it a second time the next day for other people from other countries to come and get the Associated Press. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the publicity was all over the world. I was on Interpol's Most Wanted, I believe. So they were searching from country to country for me. And eventually, when they got me, I guess they were going to take advantage of the photo ops.
You know what? I think this photo did more good than harm. I gotta say, that photo does more good than harm to anybody. You look hot. I gotta tell you, look good here, man.
And I think he still looks great. So real quick, I've learned that prisons are segregated by race. Where would George go? What group is gonna snatch him up?
I want to be exiled. Stop.
First, it actually is. It's geographic. So It's not only by color, but it's by area. So if you're from the West Side, you stay with West Side guys. You're from the East Coast, you stay with them. If you're Latin, you stay mostly with your people. But I was saying, if he walks in, into a jail, which believe me, so I don't want him to be anxious. He's not going to go anyplace vicious, and you still got to watch what you do. And you're going to have listen, a good person's a good person, no matter what he is. His individual beliefs is his individual beliefs. And I think, George, you'll meet some good people, and you'll talk. And I know a lot of people, unfortunately, in prisons that I'll send word in and try to help you out wherever you go. And again, there's a lot of nice people. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the prison system. There's a lot of people, I believe, that are not rehabilitatable. And there's a lot there are. And some of that stuff is the reason why I want to run for Congress, because I want to be able to help out when people don't understand that I do. And hopefully I can help some of those inmates and some of the inner city kids. And I can make a difference in education and try to get these guys not to do the wrong thing, because I know what it ends up. The fast track is not the right way to go. I'm the guy that can really tell everybody.
It's almost like a factory out there if you're not helping them.
Yeah. And, people are going to try to take advantage of the weak, and that's a terrible thing. And people are going to judge you, but let God judge you only. And we can go through every political person in Congress and Senate and everything. And I could find something wrong with all of them. So when anybody's judging me, So unfortunately, listen, we make mistakes, and that's life. So you got to right the ship, and that's it.
Accept it, deal with it, be the bigger man, and move on. Being in this predicament is not fun. So it's really helpful to hear. And oh my God.
Usually the people that attack you, George, are when people attack like that and they're viciously attacking, they got something in their closet.
Yeah.
It's usually the people that do that the most are the people that, and people are going to attack me all the time. I'm used to it now at this point. I have a different life. If they don't want to accept that, you can't force people to accept it.
Not only do you have a different life, you convinced a population to vote for you into elected office, and here you are.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So congratulations on rehabilitating your life and actually showing that there's life after prison.
You. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that, John. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you much.
Thank you. I want to cry. I don't like this.
Okay,
DaQuan's coming in now.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm going to ask the next inmate if George will get to play tennis in prison.
I hate you.
How you doing?
How's it going? I'm George Santos. This is Naja Hall, my co-host.
Hi.
Do
we call you DaQwuan, or how do you want to be introduced?
Is it DaQwuan or DaQwuan?
It's DaQwuan.
DaQwuan. Okay.
Yeah.
So shortstop. Okay. DaQwuan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
How are you both?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Pretty good. I made it another day, so I'm good.
Amen. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate your willingness to come on, talk to us, and share, which you have valuable experiences that are going to be relevant for me.
I mean, we wish we were meeting you under different circumstances.
Absolutely. What would you do different, and what advice would you give me in this circumstance?
For me, the first 60 days, I was stressed out because you're constantly replaying a lot of the decisions you made from the outside that led me into here. And then I had to come to the realization, all right, this is where I'm going to sit down for the next while. So in that is what I'm going to do to develop as a person. Once I do, because I do have a date when I'm leaving. It's in the air, but I know I'll leave out of here. But what am I going to do in the meantime, in the interim? So for me, relaying anything to you is just breaking down a lot of what you've constructed on the free world in there and reconstructing yourself while you're in there so you can reintroduce yourself into the free world once you're done with your stint. So just self-reflection, picking up on a lot of things that you've done of like as you become an adult, like self-development. So utilize this time at school. It's just an unorthodox way to look at school, but it's school.
It's an education nonetheless.
Absolutely. And that's what I've done. And it made me a better person, allowed me to look at things with a wider view. And, it allowed me to look at myself a lot more than, because when you're outside, you're always surrounded by so many distractions, whether it's financial obligations, relationships, career, and you get further away from yourself.
So DaQwuan, when you were inside, what was while you were doing your self-actualization and just kind of replaying, how did I get here? Why am I here? What's one of the hardest truths that you had to face?
For me, in my particular situation, is help when it's available. Like help is there for me, and I'm a prideful person, and pride come before the fall. And that was considered my fall. So now what I've learned in there, what I learned on the outside is just ask for help if it's there. Whether it be advice, whether it be financial, whether it just be the shoulder to lean on. Just know that help is surrounding you and identify the people that is there for you. And I knew who was there for me. My pride wouldn't allow me.
How does he identify who the help is and who is not there to be helpful?
George, whoever's there for you in this current point in time that, doesn't want not even a plate of food from you, but are there for you genuinely, those are the people that are there for you. I lost an apartment. I lost a girlfriend. I've hurt a lot of people that were associated with me while I did what I did illegally and then led me to the jail time. But the people that picked up that phone call are the people that are there for you.
How long were you away?
7 months. Ironically, I was
7 months. And in 7 months, you had that much loss.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's deep.
That's hard because it's like you can't pay bills, you can't pay your rent, you can't.
How was
You're
it?
immobilized.
So
you're immobilized.
How was it coming back out?
It was an adjustment because me being around a lot of people. So because I'm from New York. You're from New York as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, me as well. So being thrusted back into a fast-paced environment, it's a little bit of a difficult process. The first month and a half was probably like the most. I just wanted to stay in the house, get reacclimated, be around the people that were there for me during that time, and that'll help me catapult to being around people again. So it was difficult.
Were you ever concerned for your safety?
Well, the unit I was in, it was mainly a lot of gang members in there, and that had a lot of gun charges. So my charge was considered a gun charge, but I was associated with a lot of people that were in gangs. Mm-hmm. 2 of my cellmates killed people. So as far as safety is concerned, federal prison does have a misconception. Yes, it can get violent. Yes, it does have a way of being a little bit more wilder than state prison. But being yourself will always stand out. And being open to other people's perspective once you're in there, and understanding will get you the longest way. That's how it helped me. Understanding that, some people are upset that they're in this situation. Some people haven't got to the stage where they've taken accountability. So they may not wake up on the best of moods. It's understanding people's physical personal space and people's mental personal space. And not imposing, because you wouldn't want that brought upon you. Because nobody wants to be in that situation. So when you're in there, just be yourself. Listen, use your ears. You have 2 ears because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak.
No, that's the ratio. I say God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth, so we can do more active listening and speak less.
Mm-hmm. And you'll do a lot of that in there because you have so many different perspectives, backgrounds, coaches once you go in there. And then, you're a high profile guy. You're charismatic. So once you're in there, everybody's going to be wanting to listen to your story. But in that, listen to theirs, because these are people that don't get listened to a lot.
Yeah.
Some people will go to you and gravitate towards you. It will happen because you have a aura about you that, it is magnetic wherever it goes. So in this situation, people are going to come up to you, ask you questions and get your advice on certain things, whether it be personal, political, social, doesn't matter. So you'll be a light in there is just listen. That's the main thing. Don't impose your own thoughts or feelings on things. Just give them something that, that they don't normally get, which is someone that'll open-heartedly listen to them.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And
wow.
I guess there's a lot of reflection times potentially ahead, and it's not fun. A lot of people think that it's funny. Like, I live in a world, I come from a world where people think it's almost chic. It's like, you got to understand the socioeconomic side of the world that I come from. They look at this almost as like, oh, it's so chic going to prison. I'm like, there's nothing fucking chic about going to prison. It's not glamorous. It's not like you're going to go down the runway at the Met Gala. It sucks.
No. What about your mental health while you were in there? Because I imagine there's like, you're confined.
Advice
so is there a depression or anxiety that just hits you all at once, and how do you shake it?
Like I said, the first 60 days was terrible for me because I'm an overthinker naturally. So we take a lot of things in the free world for granted. So once it's stripped from you as far as the type of food you can eat, when you can get up and go whenever you want, what you want to watch on TV, that's stripped. When someone tells you when you can shower, how you can shower, when you can get up, when you can't get up, that's a culture shock, and it messes with your mental health. But it develops another level of appreciation. So what I've done is just journal. I journaled. I reconstructed. Yeah, a lot. You'll love doing that. Journal, reading. You'll get accustomed to it because now your thoughts are not confined, not distracted in the free world. You'll have your thoughts is going to be the closest thing to you once you're in there. So you got to be able to put it on paper, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. How I want to be a better person.
How fast do the days go by, or how slow?
So there's a lot of slow days. So a day in there is like almost a week, 2 weeks outside. That's how bad it is. But as long as you stay active and develop a routine, you'll be fine. Like after the 60 days that I was in there, I walked up to one of the guys I started working out with. I said, hey, I see you guys every morning working out. Can I work out with you guys? He was like, yeah, come on. And every morning, 7:30, as soon as the doors popped open, I worked out for an hour. That hour passes, breakfast comes. I watch the news. I watch sports, watch a movie. I go on my cell, read. By that time, it's time to lock in for shift change. Shift change comes, come back outside, watch a couple shows, movies, sports. The time goes by once you have a routine.
You find a routine.
You have to have a routine. Yeah. And The foundation of it is reading and journaling. And exercise if you choose to. Those 3 things will make your time go by so smooth. I swear it will.
Exercise and discipline. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow, DaQwuan, thank you so much for sharing.
for coming
Absolutely.
on and giving us your insight. You seem to be doing well, so I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And
Thank
I
you.
hope you keep doing well. And again, proof that there's life after prison.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And by the
both.
way,
Thank you.
you need to stop rooting for the Yankees and let's go Mets. Come on.
you never won since '86, and that was still a Mets country.
Hi, Hassan. How are you? I'm George Santos. This is Naja Hall, my co-host. Just wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing with us your experience, your life experience, which is, I appreciate that given the predicament and circumstance. So I just wanted to kind of know a little bit about you and as Naja, take it away.
We want to know more about you and your experiences, and if there's anything that you can say to help him to kind of make it through as you did.
Yeah, I went to Rikers Island. It's not a fun place, but I learned a lot. I learned to stick to myself, trust in myself, and really be respectful of others and not to look people in the face too long. People can get intimidated by that.
Did you already have respect when you went in there? Was it something that you found that you had to earn? Or did you say, I'm keeping my head down, doing my time, and I'm not messing around with anybody?
Well, I think when people look at me, they already kind of know not to kind of fuck with me. Ooh, can I say that?
It's okay.
You can say that. I don't know. You look friendly to me. I don't know why you would say that. Seriously, I'm not intimidated by the beard.
I mean, come on. I got tattoos.
You tatted up.
Okay, so I can look so past that. Like for me, I'm from New York. It's like it's kind of normal. It's like I don't necessarily think you have an aesthetic that would be like beware, stand back. Like just putting that out there.
So there was already a respect factor in place there for you. Will he have that same experience as you, or is he going to have to kind of do certain things to establish respect?
I think I just learned that I got to look at a dude like that and be scared.
What can George do to get the same reaction that you got?
George ain't gonna get that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Get tatted, George.
I'm not getting
You should
tatted.
go get tatted.
I'm a bigger guy. I'm kind of like I work out. I even when I go to the gym.
Let's see the gun real quick. Holy shit! Yeah, I don't have that. Like,
You can get it in prison.
no,
dude.
it's like just not there. Okay, you're showing off now. Whatever.
We see. So then, for somebody that's not physically imposing or strong looking like you, Hassan, then what do the guys do like George?
You better get on it. You better get in that yard and start doing some push-ups and that could be one of your hobbies that you pick up.
Okay.
You better start doing some pull-ups, just kind of work on your physique because you're going to have a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to think. I think working out should be something that you should pick up because it's a form of therapy. And it's a good form of it's something that you release, your body releases as you work out. So
journaling, working out.
Yeah.
And I guess also I'm into, I hate to kind of ask this question, but when I think of safety going into a space like that, it's like a masculine space. And what about avoiding funny business or, just avoiding being violated?
Yes.
And
that's
federal.
definitely very important.
And,
he's smiling and I don't like the fact that he's smirking.
So can you just keep it all the way real with us?
Like, can you just keep it? I mean, I'm not going to Rikers, but I really would appreciate your input.
So what's the question exactly?
How do you keep yourself intact? I don't know if I could say this because we hear about prison rape. Like we hear about getting your... How would George avoid...
No. That's little... You're going to traumatize me. Relax.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, Hassan.
I mean, but she's being straight up.
She is.
This is the thing that I've learned about human psychology. We as people, we are all actors. We are actors with the people that we present in public, right? The people that we are in like the gym and workplace, we're not going to show that person to who we show our friends and family are to around. and we're also not going to show that person who we are when we're alone. So you better put on a facade. You better you better play an actor. Like, what's up? What's up? Like, because when people, they sniff that
weakness,
weakness in you, yeah, I got him. So you better be the best Academy Award winning type. What? I'm not saying try to be in there trying to, control stuff, but you better have this kind of aura, like, don't mess with me, and start working out. So people kind of.
Let me ask you a question. How appealing is the shoe for somebody like me because of all of the variables that can take place?
You saying you're gonna get yourself in solitary?
Yes, because he's scaring the shit out of me. So let's talk about the shoe for a second. Do you have any experience with the shoe?
No, not really. I mean, being alone is a bitch. It's like alone for too long is.
Being alone is a bitch better than being beat up like a bitch.
But I'm saying, your thoughts we're always thinking, and then you know what I'm saying? You're thinking on top of thinking on top of thinking.
I don't know. You probably saw a lot of dudes in there snap just because their minds couldn't take.
Right, exactly. So it's important. As human beings, we're not supposed to be alone. We're supposed to have human interaction. We're supposed to be around other people.
I'm very social, so I get that.
How did you find safety? Because I'm sure you found community, like people that you regarded as friends in there. How did you pick the good ones from the ones that wanted to do you bad?
I mean, I just kept my guard up a lot. I mean, I kept conversation short, sweet, to the point, like, yo, what's up? A little bit of conversation, not get too friendly. Honestly, I this is going to sound weird, but I started talking to myself a lot.
I already do that though.
Like what?
I drive and I talk to myself. Like I have deep-rooted conversations with myself.
Like in order to deter other people from effing with you, to make them think that you were off, or like actual real, I need to check myself conversations.
No, like self-soothe type situations. Like, all right, okay, Hassan.
Okay.
Yeah, we gonna do this. Is all right. I'm gonna do this. Yeah. All right, nigga. All right.
I see that. I do that. I already do that though.
Okay, so
so it's like, let me ask you a quick question. How long were you away in Rikers?
2.5 years.
Wow. How was life after Rikers, and how did you adjust?
It's tough because you're like starting all over, and you have to start from scratch. It's like being a child all over again. It's like working at fast food restaurants, working with like 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and having like, nowadays you have 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 23-year-olds who are managers at McDonald's and stuff, telling you what to do. What the fuck?
That's humbling. That's real humbling.
That does not sound fun.
Telling me to go scrub the toilet, go do a dining room check and take out the garbage, and you can almost be my little nephew or something.
How old are you?
I'm 35.
And I appreciate you keeping it real and straight, because it's not easy. Like, this is not a conversation at 36 years old that I ever thought I'd be having. Definitely didn't plan for it. Definitely didn't see myself in this position. But very important to have this conversation and be just on. It's an honest conversation with somebody who's being an honest broker of reality, and that's your role today. So I appreciate that.
Obviously, if we're going to be honest, you have an advantage over me. We're going to be honest.
Be honest. Be honest.
Be honest. No, tell me what that is.
I'm a person of color. I'm a black person. So it's kind of different for us. We have different privileges. So I don't know what it looks like for you, but we are different on the spectrum. So.
Did you see guys like him in there being treated differently than the black guys?
Absolutely. We are profiled.
In what way?
Just over, like, with the security, they're looking at us more. They're like more like, we gotta watch the niggas. I mean, the black people. But, it's stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Okay.
It gets that bad? Because the way you just said it so naturally, like, it seems like it gets really bad. Like,
it does.
Great.
It does.
So what tribe would you say I fit in?
The loner tribe.
Okay.
Somebody who needs to be by themselves, especially for like a couple weeks or months.
That's good advice.
So you're saying the shoe is probably very
No,
appealing.
he's not saying the shoe. He's saying don't get in there and get all giddy and friendly and get sucked into one
I'm gonna
group.
be giddy. There's no aspect of me that feels giddy right now.
Saying
What
stay
I took away
to
from
yourself.
Hassan was saying, I think it's better to take a beating and be with people than it is to be in the shoe and by yourself. That's kind of what I heard. Do you agree with that, Hassan?
I mean, there's two kind of beatings.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want neither. I'm being very honest. So
I think I know what two he's talking about.
Yeah, I do too, and I want neither. So Hassan, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. I really hope that you continue to do good and life after prison.
And stay strong, Hassan.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations on the physique. Holy shit! Like that's.
I mean, that's what I picked up going in there. Hopefully, it all works out for you.
Appreciate that.
And, but there's a lesson to be learned, and maybe you go in and then you come out looking like me, or even
there
better.
You go. Thank you so much.
Chocolate brother. He might come out looking like you. All right, thank you, Hassan.
Thank you so much, Hassan.
God bless.
Thank you so much. Take care. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm George
Hi, guys.
Santos. This is Naja Hall, my co-host, and I guess we'll just get into it.
Yeah.
So, Naja?
So, Trish, we're here today because we kind of want to, we want advice for George and his possible upcoming sentencing. And we wanted to talk to people with experiences like yours just to help him to maximize his time, his potential time. So, do you mind sharing what was it that kind of got you in the situation you're in and how much time you served?
Well, there was an earlier time when I was very young, and so we can leave that out because that was a whole different thing. But most recently, I was at the first at the Bedford-Taconic Correctional Center for a sentence of 5 years, and it was related to financial crimes. So it wasn't a big, but it was financial crimes and like identity theft kind of. That was what they end up calling it.
Okay, 5 years. Are you still on probation now, or are you finished with them?
No, I'm not. It would be parole because when you're in federal or state prison, you're on parole and not probation. Okay. Probation is when you go to jail. If you go to the pokey at Rikers for a year, you might end up on probation. But parole is a whole different thing. So no, I am no longer on parole. And I've been living free and productive for several years.
Before we talk about your time,
so there is life after prison.
That's what I was going to ask
her. Of course there is.
Yeah. Before we talk about your time on the inside, just getting reacclimated to being on the outside. How was that for you? Like, what was that first night at home like? And where was home?
Well, that's interesting because I think part of like the whole thing is that I was questioning, like, what do you do when you first get there and how can you acclimate? My whole thing is like, I feel like the whole time you're there, you should be thinking about how you're going to get out, what you're going to do, how you're going to get support. And it's different for everyone. I mean, you have a lot of notoriety and you might have a lot of support, but in my case, I didn't even have any place to release to. So you have to have a release address before they will actually they grant you parole. But then you have to have an address to go to. And if you don't have an address to go to, then you don't get out. So you have to wait. So there's a lot of insecurity there. And unfortunately, there's also a lot less opportunity, ironically, well, not ironically, it's sort of, and it goes in line with society, that less opportunities of spaces for women to go. So I didn't want to be a burden on my family. My family didn't live in New York anymore. I could have released to another state to a family member. It was very complicated. But I just wanted to, my whole mission while I was in the pokey was just to change what I was doing, to change the pattern, to change the way. And so I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. And luckily, at the last minute, I found a release address and I got great support through spaces in the city. And it offered me a lot of opportunity to move on in the way that I wanted, with some integrity and with some autonomy and agency, so that I knew it was going to take me a while to get on my feet, but I was also willing to do whatever I needed to do on my own behalf, on my own behest, so I wouldn't be a burden further.
To anybody around you. Did you ever think that you would get caught?
It's so funny question. Caught? I honestly,
I'll reframe that for you. Did you think what you did would get you in trouble? Because I definitely didn't. I didn't know,
Right.
Like
no, our situations are much different. Mine has to do with a lot of like emotional stuff and a pattern of early abuse, and I just wasn't okay emotionally. And one of the things I did do is I was able to get like really great therapy while I was in there, which doesn't usually happen. I just got really lucky to find the right person that was willing to help me. And so I was able to make those changes.
Was that another inmate, or was it a
No, it was a therapist who really shouldn't have been seeing me in that capacity because she wasn't really allowed to, but she just helped me so that I could get past some stuff. But I don't want to that's like all my stuff.
Of course.
So that's different though. So did I think I would get caught? Yeah, I think I was trying to get caught because it was like a cry for help, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's different than not thinking what you're doing was wrong. I mean, I knew it was wrong, and so yeah. So
interesting.
It is totally different.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, that what you thought what you were doing wasn't something that was going to get you into a pickle, and it all blew up.
At least not like
didn't anticipate that. That very first night or that very first day when you went inside,
there was a reception time. There's a time that you go in and they assess you, and during that time there are a lot of like additional restrictions. My experience was just like super boring. And, you don't have access to anything. The guards seem to be like nastier and meaner just to like get you in line, and that's a real thing. I mean, that's what they do. And the other part of it that's kind of tragic and sad is that sometimes there are people that need to be evaluated for medication, for, emotional stabilizers. And so there just seems to be a lot more, like there's this very chaotic. And, I've seen people trying to kill themselves, just like because there's not the support, and it's this transitional space. And it can, depending on where you are, it could take a little bit of time. It could take a longer period of time. And I just really want to tell you that's not indicative of what the experience is going to be. So that brace yourself for those first days or weeks, or hopefully not very long, and know that it's not going to be like that. You're going to have a lot more freedom, a lot more access, a lot more, more things to do, and hopefully, something to keep your time and your mind, occupied and fruitful.
Yeah. A question that I think we've asked everybody is do's and don'ts in there to avoid staying out of the spotlight or getting into, I guess, unsafe situations.
Correct. I can't speak to a men's facility. I think that it's probably a lot different, or there are differences. There are things that I would say don't get too chummy with any guards. And in your case, be wary of that kind of friendliness from them. I mean, for a woman, it's different because they have other reasons they want to be nice to us. But for you, it's for notoriety. They know who you are. Who knows what they're going to try to sell? I did time with him, or he was on my bay or whatever. And so I would be wary of that kind of contact. And if they try to get too chummy with you, I mean, you're in a particular situation that, it has a lot to do with how you want to do your time, and you have to decide how you want to do that time. Are you going to do it are you going to use that time to, to better yourself in whatever way, to elevate yourself, to feel more calm and good about your life? And then once it becomes to a thing where it's personal, I've decided this is how I'm going to do it. And then do whatever feels instinctually okay with that.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to come with all kinds of users, and holy criminy. I can't even imagine. But you can still, even then, decide how you want to deal with this. How you want to do. What do you want to get out of it?
Was there anybody that was, you said, you mentioned his notoriety. Was there anybody there during your experience that was a notable person or was more known?
Well, way back in the day, I told you in my first experience, I was very young, and I would not speak of her right now, but she has passed, and I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful or unkind. But I did do time with Mary Kay Letourneau. She was
definitely
somebody
notable.
I knew very well. She was somebody I knew very well. She and I shared the same girlfriend at some point, not in a weird way, but we knew the same person. Yeah. And I knew her husband. I saw them visiting together, and we sat on the lawn and we talked, and she was definitely concerned about how it was going to be. And I mean, I don't imagine we didn't really stay in contact after she left. I wasn't there very long, and she. Okay. Yeah, I mean, different ways. But I understood that it was going to be tough for her, because of that.
Yeah.
But then it was like the same advice I gave her. It's like, stop listening to all the, I mean, it's much different now, though, with social media and everything. It's not like a mistake that I'm not on any social media. I literally have no social media. This is the first time I put myself out here. And it was a huge decision for me.
And I really appreciate you doing
appreciate
this.
It.
I genuinely really appreciate it.
Not only are you changing his perspective, but whomever sees this, you're changing somebody's life. So I think it's a ministry at this point.
So it's like, this isn't just about me or you. This is about hundreds of thousands of Americans who go through this, and people. And I guess nobody's ever done something like this before, and the team and I here thought this would be a great way to document it. Also for counsel for myself, but also for others who might see themselves in this position and can't have, or not afforded the luxuries that I am right now to have this privilege to be talking to you. So
right.
That being said, I really appreciate you putting yourself out there, because I know it's not easy in this world. We live in an unkind world.
I am. I do want to say, though, my little bit, I would say, like, go in, see what's available, do whatever they have. It's boring. People think the worst thing about being in prison is locked up. No, it's so boring because there's nothing to do. It's the same thing every day. So, but there are books, there's learning, there's teaching. You can teach other people. I learned to knit, then I taught people how to knit. I did, so I got my degree in prison. I was fortunate enough to be part of the Barred Prison Initiative, and I got my degree there. And that definitely changed my life. So I just encourage you to just keep your eye open for what positive things are there, not just to share, but for you to do. And you do have this unique, capacity now to have this inside view of something that really needs to change. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been an advocate before I was in this predicament of criminal justice reform. Now I think we can say that
but it gives you this a view that's real.
Yeah, a first-hand experience.
Because it's broken in a way that people don't understand until you go and you're right there and you see it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, genuinely. Thank you for the words of wisdom. Obviously not a predicament I ever thought I'd be in, but here we are. Life comes at you, and it comes fast. But Trish, thank you so much for taking the time, for being here with us, and for having this in-depth conversation and just honest. It's so hard to have an honest conversation about tough topics like this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Trish.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Thank you.
There were some moments in there.
The moments are, I'm hearing people's stories. I mean, John has a crazy story. I mean, in prison in a different country, like various prison stints. and he's now an elected councilman in Jersey and wants to run for Congress. Something tells me he'll be successful too, which is like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It gives hope that there's life after prison. I mean, God, I did do a third of the stuff he did. I mean, a third. I mean, 1/10. I'm like,
your crime is not a violent one.
He's here. He's okay. It's just listening to all these stories, I disassociated.
There was one moment where I was looking at your face and it was like you zoned out. Where did you go though? Seriously, were you?
How did I get here? Do you know those movie intros that's like, you might be wondering how I got here. Well, and that's literally what was going on in my head. Like, how did I get here? I feel like Peter Parker, like telling you my Spider-Man adventure. Like, what did I do? Like, how did I fuck up so bad? And I'm 36 years old. It's like, these guys are all done with this crap. And they're all past, they're now in their 30s. Yeah. They did this dumb stuff when they were younger. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? And it's just not registering. It's just, I
think it started to register when DaQwuan was talking. And I could see wheels spinning for you, especially when we were talking about what's the first day like and then leaving our families. Like, you have, some of them have children, some of them had spouses, some of them had businesses and homes, and the common thread, except for with John, was his name the first one? John,
yeah. John was a wild card.
Seems like everybody came out with no money, with nothing. Like, everything was taken. They didn't even have homes.
I think DaQwuan, he said he lost everything, but he had family support from what I understood.
Yeah. Yeah. So he had support. Right?
I think some of them had support. But I also think DaQwuan, for some reason, gave the most useful advice. Because I'm not here to crap on anyone. Trish went to a female prison. The dynamics, we all know, is very different.
It's different.
Hassan went to Rikers. That's like the most vile place on earth.
Yeah.
And God, he came out with a sunny disposition and smiling. Mm-hmm. And even though DaQwuan went to Bergen County, which is also not a nice place to be, I feel like he gave a grounded, like, understanding of various things. He also understood that my experience would be very different than his based on he was in one facility that's county and I will be assigned federally. Mm-hmm. And John, God bless him, John's talking about calling friends.
he's going to make sure that you're VIP up in there.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the place I want to be VIP. Yeah. You know, like...
I think you should... What are you going to do? I'm going to tell you what I think you should do based on their advice, but...
I'll tell you what I want to do.
Okay.
Every fiber in my bone wants to be like, just go in and do solitary the entire way. I don't need to make friends in that environment. I don't want to make friends. I don't want to expose myself to bodily harm. I don't want to lose control of my dignity. And if it came down to it, I'd rather go insane by myself than have all the other variables happen. It's just, that's how I've rationaled this. And I'm not being dramatic. I mean it.
No, you're not being dramatic.
I genuinely rather go insane in a box than to have to deal with all the other variables. All the other variables just scare the crap out of me. I've taken hard stances on real life issues that piss people off. And being in this predicament and also having a very heavy law and order background in voting and having done floor speeches that were just inflammatory and incendiary to the lives of some of these people, I'm not going to be a hypocrite just because I find myself in this predicament. So these are all things that really scare me.
I think you might be exposed to some other perspectives that you otherwise would have been able to comfortably avoid, and it could possibly make you take a different stance. I don't know that, right? And we don't know until we live it. I'm not looking forward to living it. But what today did for me, I feel like I matured 30 years.
in a weird way. And I'm sorry for everyone listening that this isn't like your usual, like, yay, crazy, over the top.
I think, George, straight up, this is, and I think everyone listening might be able to agree, this is what everybody has actually wanted to know. I think this might be the first time, I've met this George already, but I think this might be a first time a lot of them have
This George doesn't show up very often.
He doesn't.
No.
That this is the first time that this guy...
This George wears sweaters and sweatpants, and you've been seeing a lot of that lately, and that's because this is, like...
We're close.
It's been hard to keep up the uppity up appearance. Eventually, you just got to drop it a little bit, like... This is as real and raw as you're ever going to get me, like unfiltered. But, I
think a lot of people are going to understand and like this vulnerable version of George Santos, because you don't show that. And I understand why. The world has been pretty unforgiving.
I learned something, and it's that eventually you got to stop putting up a front, because the front is more exhausting than just letting your guard down. I'm not saying I'm fake, but I give people what they want. A smile, laughter, and the larger-than-life personality. Not necessarily saying it's fake, but it's definitely code switch.
It's a character that you've been put in a particular position to play. And like you said, you
for a long time.
You think you're giving the people what you want. But
I think the people want...
You think they want a
happy.
villain?
No, they want to be happy. They want to... I strive to try to put smiles on people's faces. And that's the George Santos everybody's gotten used to. That's always on the uppity up. Mm-hmm. And it's really rare for anybody to see this George Santos.
I think maybe after meeting this George, I think they've seen another side of you, and maybe they'll become lovers. We don't know.
You don't know that. We don't know that. We'll never know. But I'm going to ask you something before we go, because I think it's relevant. You work with people and people's minds. Mm-hmm. So here's a question for you. What did you take away from this experience today?
Human nature. I think the human experience is such an individual thing. We had 4 different people from 4 walks of life who entered a similar thing, and they had drastically different experiences and drastically different perspectives. The thing that I loved is they all said, journal, work out, feel your days. You're going to feel no autonomy because somebody's telling you when you eat, sleep, shit, wake up, go outside, go play, come back in. I was a little scared. It did scare me for you. It made me sad for you. It made me sad for your family. I had a vision of potentially you even saying goodbye. It won't be any cameras or any of us there. It'll be your family system. And because those people had to do it. But guess what? They did it. They served their time, and now they're back talking to us to giving advice. What I learned today is just the resilience of the human spirit. We are some resilient animals, us humans. And George Santos can take a licking and keep on ticking. So I'm not.
It takes a lot to beat me. Let's just say that.
Lot. And
you can beat me, but you can't beat the joy out. You can't beat the joy out of me. I'll be damned if somebody beats the joy out of me.
Cannot
then I will be defeated and might as well be dead. And I'm not ready for that. Not just yet. There's always Act 2.
I just don't think that's going to happen. And I'm interested and excited to see what's going to happen with the Act 2. Is this episode just going to be one that's in the can because you just got parole or you got nothing, or you what is it called, community service?
Can you imagine me doing community
I would love for them to let me be your overseer or supervisor with
that
your community service.
That would be mean. That's just really mean.
I would absolutely I would rather that than your ass is locked up. So
you know what? Yes, Miss Naja, which toilet are we cleaning today?
Thank you. Exactly. But the resilience of the human spirit, I know that you're going to guard your heart and guard your mind in this next phase. I know that you have a really good, really tight-knit support system. You have people that truly know you and see you, and this little glimpse that we all got today, this is who they get all the time. So this is why they love you. They respect you. They're going to wait on you and stand by you.
Yeah.
And I took this job because I wanted to know more about you. And like you said, I study human beings and behavioral patterns, and I was so curious to how your mind works. You do have a very complex mind. You have done some things that you are going to atone for, whether that be serving time or paying restitution or even just the spiritual aspect of it. So, I wish you well, George Santos, and I wish you the best. And I hope to see you again next week.
You bet.
Not in this outfit, though. let's.
Well, I think to end, I want to say thank you to everybody listening, to you, Naja, for the work we've been doing. I look forward to continuing to do it. And I think that this was very enlightening, but you have not seen the last of me. And don't count your chips.